I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition. It is March 4th, 2014. Before we get into the litany of topics I want to go over tonight, I want to say something really quick on air because I know there are certain people listening right now. Recently, past couple months, pretty much since I've been on Truth Frequency, not too long after I got here, every time, at least once or twice a week when I go on air, the station gets attacked. And poor Chris has to mitigate things. He has to literally sit around just to make sure that things go off without a hitch every time my show comes on air. And we've recently figured out what's going on and who's doing it. And I won't get into details. All I can say is it's happening because the people are trying to alienate me from Truth Frequency. These are people that have something against Chris, and they're trying to use me as a tool against him. I will tell you right now, because I know you scumbags are listening, it's not going to happen. I'm friends with Chris. I've been friends with Chris for a while, and your little antics will not stop it, and you will not make me leave Truth Frequency. In fact, the only thing you're going to do is piss me off and strengthen my resolve. Obviously, you people don't know me, and you don't know who you're playing with. It's one thing, first of all, if you have a personal issue with Chris or whatever, that's one thing, but you shouldn't attack, you shouldn't do the things you do to them, and you certainly shouldn't attack his network or his hosts. And you picked a fight with the wrong individual. That's all I'm going to say to you. So, job well done, because now you got me in the game. Now it's on. And you're not going to get me to leave Truth Frequency, so knock it off. It's stupid. Attacking the network. That's why there's... Chris has to deal with so many issues whenever I come on. I know it seems like there's a problem with the network, but there's not. It's because he's trying to mitigate. The network gets attacked. The servers get literally, brute force attack, DDoS attack. Not going to tolerate it. So, I know you people are listening. It's not going to work. Take a long walk off a short pier, kick rocks, whatever expression you want me to use, but stick it. It ain't going to happen. Now, moving on, I want to give my analysis on the Ukraine situation. Anybody else think that the United States is being a slight bit hypocritical in its viewpoints? You can't invade a sovereign nation, Russia. How dare you? You evil Russian commie bastards. Are you kidding me? Perhaps those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Hmm? Really? Do I have to mention Iraq? Do I have to mention Afghanistan? Do I have to mention the numerous countries that we're doing drone strikes in that we're not officially in, but we're in anyway because we have drones flying overhead and our missiles and our munitions are hitting people, killing people, including civilians? We have a real brass set of balls in this country. It amazes me. And I know it's the media and the powers that shouldn't be, but I've been talking to people on the street about this. I haven't really gotten into this and torn it apart. I'll be getting into the what's going on aspect in the Ukraine later this week with Mike Vale. He's coming on Friday. We're going to be ripping this apart and getting into it. But our coverage is insane. And there are people that are buying it. I know the media is out of their mind, but there are still people that are buying it. I had a conversation earlier this week with somebody, and I just couldn't believe I was talking to this person about this and that they had the view that they had. Like, you would have thought we were literally back in the Cold War era. For real. Like, you literally, I would have thought we were back in the Cold War talking to this person. Them friggin' Ruskies. That's what this guy said to me. Them Ruskies. They just, look what they're trying to do. They're trying to start World War III. We have a weak president. If we had a tougher president, that's what all the faux conservatives out there are saying. If we had a tougher president, he'd stand up to Russia. Really? With what military? With what military geniuses? You've expended our military might all over the world. What military are we going to challenge Russia with? We don't have a standing army. Oh, our NATO allies. Oh, because there's nothing you guys have, and no ulterior motives that NATO or anybody else might have. Maybe there's NATO's being used as a tool. Maybe because there's more to it. Maybe some of it's got to do with natural resources. Because, by the way, that's what most wars. In fact, I know there's an expression: all wars are banker wars, but there's more to it than that. A lot of these wars are over not only just control of a people or a country itself, politically, but it's also over control of the country's resources, like oil. Not always oil. Something in Afghanistan. Look at lithium. Oh, the Afghan war's not about that, Popeye. It's about freedom. It's about 9/11. We're getting Al-Qaeda. If it were really about 9/11, the question that was asked after we supposedly got bin Laden a few years ago, right? Wasn't the question asked, well, if we got him, are we going to leave Afghanistan now? And they're like, no, we can't leave Afghanistan. Of course not, because there's too many pounds and pounds, thousands of pounds and thousands and millions of dollars and billions of dollars to be made in the drug trade there alone, not to mention all the stuff that's in the ground. All the natural minerals and stuff, the mineral rights. Oh, it's more than just oil. Oil is one thing. Water is another thing. These people covet everything that there is. They want it for themselves. Anyway, there's a lot of chicanery going on in this Ukraine thing. Now, I'm not taking a side. I'm not going to say the U.S. is wrong and Russia is right. I'm not going to say that Russia is wrong and the U.S. is right. First of all, I admittedly don't know, a ton about the Ukraine. I know enough to know what's going on and have a decent understanding, at least from my analysis, what's going on. But that's why I'm having Mike Vale on Friday, so I can get into it deeper with him, because he's been researching this and keeping an eye on this. And you all know him. You can check his website out. It's called stratrisks.com. But you don't have to be a political science major in Ukrainian politics to understand that, we have no leg to stand on. Even if we didn't invade Iraq, we have no leg to stand on to tell them what to do with that area. We don't control that area. We being NATO, or the powers that shouldn't be, and NATO, the NATO countries, or the people that control the NATO countries, again, the powers that shouldn't be, they want the Ukraine. So, of course, they're all up in arms. mean, we have politicians. We should go in there and send troops in there. We should send people in there. We should send some sort of, message, whatever. We should stand up to it. We should help them any way we can. That's what that means, by the way. When they say we're going to send money and we're going to send sanctions, that's the first step. Look what they want to do with Iran. And then the next thing is we're going to send troops, or we'll bolster our troops on a border here or there. Watch. I mean, if they keep playing the game, and maybe, yeah, it will lead to World War III. Who knows? But honestly, at first I honestly thought a lot of this was just posturing, but now it's starting to get a little more serious. It's posturing on our end. The Russians, we really can't tell them what to do. Is it wrong, them going into Ukraine? I can't say that it is. Because, yeah, there's a lot of people going, well, those poor revolutionaries. From what I understand, and this doesn't come just from the media, but there's videos on YouTube of people that are living there, and they're saying, hey, the people that are revolutionaries are fascists, neo-Nazis or Nazis. I heard Rush Limbaugh on the radio today bashing Putin, saying, oh, of course, these friggin' lefties, they're going to blame the Nazis. Well, just so you know, Rush, the Nazis were National Socialists, and the lefties here have more in common with the Nazis than, the conservatives or whatever. I can't stand Rush. He plays the game. Oh, it's liberal versus Democrat. It's right versus left. Anyway, he was attacking Putin, blaming Putin, putting him in the category of left liberal, and all these liberals, they always want to blame the Nazis. It's always, it's the Nazis. It's the Nazis. And he's like, it's fake, ladies and gentlemen. No. How do you know that? There's people on the ground saying that there are neo-Nazis and fascist elements that are trying to come to power. That is a big problem over there. So who's to say that that's not what's going on? But no, that's lies. They're rebels, and you're suppressing them, and now Russia's coming in to suppress them. Well, the prime minister there, I saw him do a televised speech, and he asked for Russia to come in. He had already fled the country by that point, but all hell had broken loose, by then. And he supposedly feared for his safety. And I guarantee you, if they were rioting and doing all that, and these people are half as bad as they say they are, right? I'm not saying all of the protesters, by the way, were terrorists or bad. I'm sure they probably had a core contingent of people that were sent over there, probably controlled by the State Department from some of the stuff I've seen, and to stir the crap up. And they're causing all this revolution. Don't you find it odd that this happens right around the time that the Sochi Olympics are ending? And right before that, it was, oh my God, you're going to have terror attacks in Russia, and amping the fear up in Russia. And oh my God, attacking Russia. And oh my God, Russia this. And oh my God, Russia that. Making Russia look bad. Attacking Russia for their supposed anti-gay policies, which I'm sure that there are some stupid rules on the books, I'm sure, and I've seen videos of people attacking gay people in there, on YouTube in Russia. So I'm sure there are people like that, but the way it's framed is that all of the Russian government hates gay people, and there might be laws on the books that are draconian, but what I saw was that there were LGBT activists in Russia that were like, no, the American media is like totally twisting what's going on in the narrative. And they're using it to demonize the country as a whole. And they didn't want to be used as tools to demonize their whole country over disinformation. Go look it up. That's what the internet's for. 2014, there's no excuse. I don't want to hear anybody tell me, well, I'm busy. Dude, take 15 minutes, go on YouTube and do a search. Most people have high-speed internet, and if you don't, use your high-speed internet at work, or go to the internet cafe, or use your smartphone. Okay, you can look up anything I'm saying and verify it. Okay, so do I know fully what's going on in Ukraine? No, and none of us do. Most of the information we're getting, the only place you can get it from is RT or the Western media. And okay, RT is obviously going to have a slant towards Russia, and the Western media is obviously going to have a slant towards whatever political agenda the powers that shouldn't be want. Correct? I mean, they're making everybody, oh my God, fear, 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 World War III, woo, we're gonna die, people, oh my God, the Cold War all over again, it's World War III, no, be afraid, be very afraid. You know what? Yeah, Russia is a big country, they have a very powerful military, and if we tried to take them on, like, head to head, like we, wanted to back in the 50s, I don't think it would be a very good outcome for us because our military is weakened. That being said, there's a lot of countries like NATO and countries in Europe that would fight and step in at least for a brief period of time anyway. So they're not going to attack us. They're not going to. They tested a ballistic missile today, Popeye. Well, I mean, maybe that's flexing its muscle. China tested missiles off of our coast, and I didn't see anybody getting pissed off about that. I didn't see the president getting all uppity with China. Oh, that's right, because China owns a assload of our debt. Oh, that's right. So the Chinese can do it, no problem. Russians do it in their own territory, and everybody has a freaking apoplectic fit. And then, of course, the missile test I'm talking about was said that it wasn't a missile test. They said it was. What did they say? It was a weird contrail or something. Or I think they came up with a couple different excuses for it before I think that the truth finally came out about that one. But you can go look that one up too. Anyway, look at the contrail left by it. No, that's not a missile. It doesn't look like a ballistic missile being fired at all. But anyway, okay, maybe it's a conspiracy theory and it's a lie. But let's look at that and just say it's the truth for a second. So if China can do it, right? But maybe China did fire that ballistic missile, off the coast of California a couple of years ago. So if they did, how come Russia can't do it in their own backyard without everybody flipping out? Oh my God! Happens off our coast. It's a conspiracy theory. Happens in Russia's backyard conveniently at the time that we're demonizing them, and boom, they're the bad guy. And I just find it a little odd, like I said earlier, that all this coverage of their, oh my God, Russia is so barbaric. Look how horrible they are. And then the Sochi Olympics, oh my God, Russia's a police state. Russia's this. I wouldn't go there. There's terror over there. I mean, the media didn't report at all about our Olympians. They reported about how bad Russia was and how scary of a place it was and how they're surprised there weren't terror attacks. And how did Russia ever keep terrorists from doing bad things? I don't know. How does, quote unquote, TSA keep terrorists from doing bad things? Why don't you explain that one to me? Because that's a bigger friggin' mystery. It's a lie. It's all propaganda. Even Snoring Dog in the background sees through it. Right, Monster? That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to get a unbiased opinion on either side on this one. And I'm sure, but maybe, I'm not saying, by the way, when I say that Russia... they were asked to go in there and handle the situation by the president that got he took off. I think he's actually over in Russia now, in sanctuary over there or whatever. But yeah, he asked. Am I saying that they're right for going in there? I mean, it's another sovereign nation. There are people in there that are against the Russian troops being in there, and there are people that aren't. I'd have to see more of I'd have to see more of what's going on in there than what we know now from any of the media coverage before I'm willing to take a side. But I will tell you that we do not have the moral high ground, to be telling anybody to not go in anybody's backyard. I mean, let's be realistic. Who the hell are we to tell anybody they shouldn't be invading anybody? John Kerry has a brass set of balls, and so does Barack Obama. Okay? You people are filled with hubris. Actually, they're not brass. They don't have brass balls. Let me rephrase that. They have very fragile glass balls that are filled with just tons of hubris. Okay, they're not really made of brass because they're not real men. Okay, they're not. There's no real strength or anything there. Okay, it's all an illusion. Okay, and inside of these big glass balls that they've got is just hubris. Tons of it. You better watch out, Russia. You can't just go into someone's backyard. You can't be going around invading people. Um, um, Iraq. No, I'm sorry. I had something in my throat. Afghanistan. Oh, Jesus. Drone strikes in Yemen. Oh, God, I hate when I get things caught in my throat like that. I mean, really? And that's only 3. There's more. Drone strikes in Pakistan. Oh, God, I hate that. Pakistan. God, I'm sorry. Really? You shouldn't be in someone else's backyard. The hubris we have in this country, and I've seen people in this country that most people don't know what's going on. They don't understand what's going on, and a lot of them are buying what they see on the media over this, and they're like, "Man, Russia's effed up." And then now these morons are talking about kicking Russia out of the G8. We're going to kick Russia out of the G8. Did they threaten to kick the United States out of the G8 when we invaded Iraq? Afghanistan? Again, bombing Yemen, Pakistan, all these other countries? No? No? Well, I don't ever recall anybody saying, we should kick the United States out of the G8. I mean, the global 8, right? Okay. New World Order. But now there's infighting in their little New World Order meeting. Russia, you've got to go. You can't be part of our little coffee clutch. You have to leave. Russia, you're not allowed at the table. You have to sit over there with the children at the children's table. This is our strongest. This is our strongest response because we don't have one. We don't have a leg to stand on. A, we don't have the moral ground, and B, it's none of our friggin' business. It's not our part of the world. Popeye, it's a global world nowadays. We have to stand with them. John Kerry pledged $1 billion to the Ukraine. You heard me right. Your Secretary of State, John Kerry, the man who looks like Eric Stoltz's character in the movie Mask come to life and has the personality of a cinder block, pledges $1 billion. Mr. Skull and Bones John Kerry, Mr. In the Know, dirtbag sellout traitor, Secretary of State John Kerry. Nothing I've said is slanderous. So, can't get mad at me for saying it. Maybe a few ad hominems in there, but he kind of deserves it. They're going to pledge $1 billion to help the Ukrainian economy. He said something to the effect of, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, but something to the effect of, their economy is really in a fragile state, and it's our responsibility to help them out in this time of need. And I'm paraphrasing. Go listen to the thing on YouTube. But I mean, really, it's our responsibility to help the Ukraine. Of course, Popeye, the United States has to pledge $1 billion. Well, the United States and its allies. So the U.S. So the U.S. has to pledge $1 billion. We don't have $1 billion. You're cutting. They talk about cutting Social Security, which there's no reason to, by the way. This freaking thing is solvent until like 2060 something. But hey, don't worry about that. So by itself, as it is now, okay. But don't worry about that. We'll just have to cut it because if they cut it and they stop giving benefits, they can take more money from it. Duh. Anyway, they talk about that. They want to screw veterans. They are screwing veterans and retirees, right? They want to raise taxes. They want to charge you more money. They want to make you buy Obamacare. They want to put new fines on the books and everything else. They won't fix bridges. They won't fix the friggin' roads. They won't fix transportation systems. They talk like a big game like they're going to, but they don't ever really follow through with anything, and yet they want to give $1 billion to the Ukraine. Look, to all the Ukrainians that might hear this broadcast, I feel really bad for you innocent people caught in the crossfire between two very powerful groups, the Russians and the powers that shouldn't be over in the New World Order. And even sometimes Russia plays the game like they're supposed to. But right now they're all fighting, whether it's fake or not. You people are the losers. The sore people, the poor people, I should say, in the middle are the losers. So you guys are the ones that end up bearing the brunt of it all. The physical stuff. So I'm not bashing you in any way, shape, or form. You have my heartfelt sympathies when it comes to going through war and innocent people being killed. It shouldn't be happening at all. Neither side should be using you people in the middle as a pawn. Your politicians and your president, if he's involved using you as a pawn, he shouldn't be doing it. The quote-unquote revolutionaries, again, there's a lot of questions, a lot of connections to USAID, USAID, if you understand that, you understand that, connections to like that to the State Department are pretty much just a green light that, yes, this is a controlled thing. So, I can't say 100%. When Mikey Vale comes on Friday, I'll get into it more with him, but the coverage either way it's just ridiculous. And of course, I know our team might have some slanted coverage, but our coverage is just ridiculous. I thought I was back in 1980. I'm waiting for Red Dawn to be, the original version, not the crappy remake, to be, airing as a feature film in the movie theaters again, to get everybody pumped up. Oh my God, the commies are coming! Run, Popeye, run! The commies, oh, run! Just, people, use your heads. None of us really have a good idea of what's going on there because the coverage from all the sides are slanted. So the best thing you do is watch everything and then watch YouTube videos from on the ground and try to come up with your own analysis if you understand geopolitics. But do not believe what's coming out on the television because it's all crap and disinformation. Going to break. We'll be back in a few short minutes. Stay tuned. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. A few other things I want to get into, so I'm going to be stepping away from the Ukrainian situation. As I said, I'll be getting back into it more in depth this Friday with my good friend, Mr. Mike Vale, good friend of the broadcast, retired, well, I won't say retired, I'll say in hiatus, radio show host, but he still does his website, stratrisks.com. And he's very knowledgeable and he knows what's going on, especially in around the U.S., but more so also around the world and what's up with the U.S. foreign policy involvement in it. So I look forward to that broadcast. Moving on, though, I want to get into a few other things. Before I forget, federaljack.com/downtherabbithole t-shirts available, ladies and gentlemen. What? T-shirts, you say, Popeye? That's right. T-shirts available. Go over to federaljack.com. Right on the front, you will see an animated GIF on the right-hand side. And click on that, it'll bring you to the page. Or up at the top under the store tab in the header, you hover your mouse over it, and it'll drop down. You'll see it. There's three options. There's one for the hard drive, the 2 terabyte, or actually it's like 3 terabytes now of information, all different videos and stuff, and ebooks, and all of our original stuff, all my radio shows, tons and tons of stuff. That's there. Judith's book, and then underneath that, you will see federaljack.com/downtherabbithole t-shirts. That's right. I've had such a high request for new t-shirts because the old batch, as some of you, the longer listeners might remember, I did a couple giveaways a while ago. Probably about 6-7 months ago was the last time I had any giveaway. Long story short, I ran out of t-shirts. So I've gotten so many emails requesting a new batch that I redid the logo for the shirts. So it's Federal Jack on the front instead of, like Uncle Jack and on the front, and then the Federal Jack logo on the back. I have Uncle Jack and the Federal Jack banner on the front, and in the back is the Down the Rabbit Hole banner advertising the radio show. So it actually advertises both instead of just one, because the old shirts only advertised Federal Jack, and I had them made actually before I had started doing the radio show, and I just had them around for a while. I had a pretty hefty amount of them, so it took me about 2 years to get rid of them all. And when you do a shirt order of that magnitude, you have to have a decent request for them. Otherwise, you're not gonna. It's at least for somebody like me of limited resources. I don't have any funding, so it doesn't. I don't have someone giving me $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month where I can go. I'll spend $500-$600 on shirts. So I did a pre-order thing, and because of the pre-orders, all you awesome individuals that jumped on the pre-order opportunity, I was able to place the order And they are the individuals who made it possible for the rest of you who haven't ordered your T-shirts yet to have the ability to do so, because I was able to order a larger amount because of the actual large amount of pre-orders. So I want to thank everybody that pre-ordered. All of you are awesome. Okay, you guys all stepped up to the plate. I put it out there on Facebook alone before I even took it to the airwaves that I was going to do the shirts, and I just asked on Facebook to see if there was enough interest. And on Facebook alone, from the radio show page and the Federal Jack fan page, there was more than enough interest for me to do a new batch of shirts. So, olive drab green and black are the two colors. We have sizes small to triple XL. It's all available. Right, as I said, there's a page right over on federaljack.com. If you're out of the country, email me, and I'll get you a shipping price. And to the people that I've already emailed a shipping quote from out of the country, I'm going to email you again because I went down to the post office myself rather than deal with the people over the phone and deal with their stupid website and having it guesstimate through there. And I'm trying to work out, because I do a lot of mailing, so I'm trying to see the best way that I can work out the cheapest way to send you guys. Hopefully, I believe the shirts will be light enough that I'll actually be able to send it much cheaper than they originally quoted me. So anybody from outside of the United States, email me. The email is on the page, but if not, it's contactdtrh@yahoo.com, the full word contactdtrh@yahoo.com, and I'll give you a shipping amount. Otherwise, if you're inside the United States, the price that's on the page, $20 per shirt, except for triple XL, which are $25. Shipping is included, and while supplies last, while I have them, I will send you a Truth Frequency Radio bumper sticker. I know Chris just got a whole batch of them printed up, and as soon as I get those in, but between that and the shirts, I'll put together a little care package of that and some flyers from Federal Jack. And I might have a couple copies, I have to look around, of Wake Up Call left. If I do, however many I have left, if I have like 5 left, the first 5 people that ordered will get the free DVD thrown in there too. But with each T-shirt order, just like when someone orders a hard drive or one of Judith's books, I always throw extra stuff in there. You could always ask anybody that's ever gotten anything from Federal Jack. They've never just got what they ordered. They always get more. It's always a little care package of information. That's the way it should be, ladies and gentlemen. That's why people respect the site and have followed us all these years. Word of mouth, because we not only do we talk the talk, but we walk the walk here at federaljack.com and down the rabbit hole. So, moving on. Homeless Jesus. What in the world is homeless Jesus? Well, this lady, let me give you the story. Let me restart this, because I don't want to just start it with this lady, because she's not the focal point of it. Her attitude is, and I don't want to pick on her, because it would be ignorant of me just to say, oh, it's all about her, although she is personally responsible for her own actions and her own idiocy. Anyway, this is part of a much larger problem. So, in North Carolina, my good buddy Joe Joseph's neck of the woods over there, North Kakalaki, a church has a statue of a homeless Jesus on the bench out front. And, well, I'll let you hear the audio clip. But, man, this is going to irritate, well, it's probably going to irritate most of you, even the non-religious, the religious. It's going to irritate you, just this woman's attitude. Just listen.
From a distance, especially at dusk, you would swear this is a homeless man sleeping on a bench in front of St. Albans Episcopal Church. Cindy Castano-Swanick drove by it.
I did call the police. I was coming home late one evening, and I was concerned for the safety of the neighborhood.
A closer look reveals this is metal, not flesh and bone. Crucifixion marks in the feet offer the only clue to the man's identity, Homeless Jesus, a controversial sculpture by Canadian artist Timothy Schmaltz.
It's Jesus representing the most marginalized of society.
And to St. Albans rector David Buck, it's beautiful. It's art. It's religion.
We're reminded of what our ultimate calling is as Christians, as people of faith, to do what we can, individually and systemically, to eliminate homelessness. A part of a faith commitment is to care for the needy.
The sculpture includes room to sit on the bench.
Help us to keep the marginalized in our minds. Help us to do something for them.
An interactive experience, Buck says, with church members like Chuck Dillman being that much closer to God and using the sculpture to pray.
If you've been through what I've been through,
it brings you right up here with him. Yeah. It just gives me an overwhelming sense of peace and comfort.
I can't understand why anyone wouldn't want this.
That's not who Jesus is.
Swanwick says it's an inappropriate message, wrong for the neighborhood, and says Jesus should be standing over the homeless, protecting them, not being one of them.
Jesus is not a vagrant. Jesus is not a helpless person who needs our help.
It doesn't belong in the neighborhood. And Jesus was not a homeless person. Let me just throw this out there, lady. I'm not a religious scholar by any means, okay? So you can feel free to correct me if you'd like, although I know you'll be wrong. But last time I checked, the teachings of Jesus, he hung out with hookers, he hung out with the blind, he hung out with the sick, the dying, the homeless, the hungry, the indigent. He hung out with the very people that statue would represent. You see how self-righteous this woman is? That's not who Jesus is. Oh, you know who he is. You know him on a personal level. You had him over for tea and coffee last week. See, this is what I call fake Christians. Now, you all know I have my own theory about organized religion. I've gone off on this before, but a lot of the ideas of Christianity are not evil. There are, some very good, basic concepts. That's what Christianity just was pretty much based off, some basic concepts, and then things get twisted around. But anyway, there are some good. There are a few good basic concepts. Be kind to one another. Be good to one another. Right. Judge. What was the one? Judge not, lest ye be judged yourself. I mean, what about this woman? This is what I'm talking about. These fake Christians, they run around quoting the Bible, yet they sit and they judge from some self-important, entitled position. I called the police because I feared for the neighborhood safety. From a homeless person? The guy's got no home. What's he going to rob your TV for? Well, he might try to sell it for crack. Well, because every homeless person smokes crack, right? Because automatically, if you're homeless, you must be a friggin' crackhead, right? Or you must be evil because you're homeless. You couldn't possibly be homeless because the bank stole your house. No. You couldn't possibly be homeless because of maybe you lost your job because your job got outsourced by some big scumbag corporation that you used to work for, right? No, that couldn't happen. No. Let me tell you something. To all you people that are self-righteous like this woman, whether or not you're Christians or not, I don't care, you can be atheists. You see a homeless person and you look down on them. If you look down on them, if that's the attitude you have, okay, you can't even bother to help them out. You judge them like that. Oh, they're below me. You're part of the problem. You're a major part of the problem. And yeah, there are Christians that are not like this woman, so not every Christian is like this. See, that's the other problem. There are people that believe in Christianity, whatever. There's so many different versions of it, just like there's different versions of Islam, and even Judaism. There's different. People have different beliefs, and some people don't. They would consider themselves Jews, but they're not really religious Jews. I know a lot of them. They're like, I don't really go to temple. I don't do that. I'm not into that thing. I'm not very religious. So it's like that with all the major religions. But the point is, this is the type of individual that makes Christians look bad. So all you good Christians out there should get on her and get on people like her to check themselves. And don't be, if you do come up against somebody like this, don't be an idiot and start swearing and yelling and screaming, because that's not going to get you anywhere. Don't attack them ad hominem. Point out that she's completely wrong. Again, I'm not a religious scholar. I'm not a deacon. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a priest. But I'm pretty freaking sure that Jesus hung out with the homeless. And he took care of them. He wasn't hanging out with the elites driving a Bentley, lady. He wasn't driving around in a friggin' Lexus SUV like some high-class soccer mom. Okay, Jesus wasn't hanging out drinking lattes with the soccer mom crowd at Starbucks. And there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, I don't believe in Jesus. That's fine. You don't have to, okay? But whether or not you believe if he was a real person or not, okay, the story goes that that's not who he was. But this person who, again, she chooses to believe in Jesus, but she chooses to believe in her own version of him. Some version, I guess, where he wears Armani suits and drives a Lexus, and he looks down on poor people. He should be standing over them, protecting them, lording over them. Well, according to the stories, like the Gospels of Jesus and things like that, that's not who he was. He wasn't flying around with a cape. He was on the ground amongst them. Just saying. Just saying. And let's put religion aside for a second. Let's pretend it wasn't even homeless Jesus. Let's just pretend it was a homeless statue. And the church commissioned it to represent the homeless problem. And they were making a statement for whatever reason. Who are you? And I'm addressing the woman. Who are you, lady, to decide, well, that's inappropriate? You see what that is? That's ego, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same problem we have with everything else in this country. We can never admit when something is wrong or when we've done something wrong. Oh, no. If something is wrong, it's got to be someone else's fault, if there is a problem at all. Are you kidding me? She calls the cops on a statue. Once it's brought to her attention that, hey, lady, you called the cops on a statue. Nope. She can't just go, oh, well, I made a mistake. Nope. She's got to justify her actions. Well, that doesn't belong here. That sends the wrong message. Jesus wasn't homeless. He didn't hang out with homeless people. He wouldn't be indigent. He was. He hung out with the homeless, lady. Okay, go back and read the Bible again. You purport to know Jesus so well, perhaps next time he's over, you could ask him what he did. Can't stand people like that. Self-righteous a-holes. You are. Anybody that has that attitude. Okay? And it's not just, well, that's Christians, Popeye. No, it's not. I know it's the way the media and a lot of the well, I won't say the atheist crowd because there's a lot of atheists that are smart, but the idiot, how can I put this? The Kool-Aid drinkers, I guess, is the only way to put it. They like to attack Christians and just say, well, that kind of attitude is solely, that's the way all Christians are. I have news for you. There's people that are non-Christian that are just as stupid and have the same stupid opinions. Doesn't have to be about Jesus. It could have been just a regular homeless person statue, and some moron somewhere would have found offense to it and had to call the cops because, oh my God, there could have been a homeless person on the bench. See, that's the real root of the problem. The criminalization of homelessness. Cities all over the country banning people from feeding the homeless. We'll arrest you. In some cases, they have arrested people. Here in my home state of Florida, yeah. If you live here or you pay attention to the news that comes out of here, you understand why I went. But here in my home state of Florida, they've arrested people for feeding the homeless. Drop the cruller! Actually, don't drop the cruller. I want to eat that. Give me the cruller. No, they soup lines, things like that. They close them down. You can't feed people. You don't have a permit to feed more than 20 people. Really? To the cops that break up these little forays, these horrifically wild parties in the street where the homeless are just dancing on cars. Right, they're all standing in line because they haven't eaten. And they're getting a bowl of soup and like bread. But you don't have a permit for that. To the cops that partake in breaking that stuff up, you are such scum. It's the only nice thing I could say on air. I'd like to say a few other choice things. You're scumbags. How do you arrest somebody for feeding another human being? Well, they didn't have a permit, sir. Really? Do you have a permit to use your brain, dummy? Well, I was just following orders. So were the Nazis, stupid. And yeah, I'm being belligerent. Any cop that arrests somebody for feeding somebody else is an asshole. You want me to say it straight? There it is. How do you look at yourself in the mirror at night, officer? You go home and look at yourself. I'm badass. I'm like SWAT. That's right. I'm stopping terrorists. Honey, who did you stop today? Man, there was these 5 people. They put together this shindig in the middle of the park, and they were feeding soup to people. Can you believe that? Friggin' soup terrorists. So me and the guys went in there. We pepper sprayed everybody, tased the hell out of them, shot 3 people, and arrested everyone. Even the 3 dead people we shot. Charged them too. Resisting arrest. You should have seen it. They were dead on the ground. They wouldn't sit up. Resisting. I had to kick a dead guy in the face 6 times. Resisting. How do you look at yourselves in the mirror? Seriously. Like, do you go home and look at yourself and be like, wow, you're awesome? You must have to lie to yourself and tell yourselves that. Because you can't honestly respect yourselves for actually jailing another human being for feeding another human being. You know why I didn't become a cop? Because I have self-respect. Yeah, I had the opportunity to become a state trooper a long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away. And you know what? I chose not to. Because I weighed the pros against the cons, and I couldn't do it. It didn't matter that I would have been making good money and had full benefits. My mother and a lot of my close friends thought I was insane. Couldn't do it. Because I have too much respect for myself. I won't just follow an order. And I certainly don't have an issue with the size of my penis that I have to take out on everybody else around me. I don't feel insecure in my manhood that I have to put on a costume and run around violating people's rights. It's out of control. It's absolutely out of control. You're shooting 17-year-old kids, tasing old ladies. And none of this is hyperbole. This is all real. You can look it up. You're being played by your masters. You're being used against your very own people, and then you're going to get tossed aside, geniuses. Arresting people for feeding other humans. Absolutely infuriates me. And yeah, I expect that of the politicians. Doesn't surprise me that some jerk-off on some city council passed some stupid law or ordinance, because that's what it is. We passed an ordinance. No feeding the homeless. Being homeless is illegal. There's cities passing ordinances that if a homeless person uses a newspaper as cover, they can go to jail. They're arresting them. They're not allowed to use any type of cover. No cardboard boxes, no sleeping bags. We can't have that. They get comfortable, Popeye. Oh, God forbid another human being have a place to sleep and feel secure and not have anxiety about where the hell they're going to get their next meal from or shower or if they have to sleep out in the rain. You know, I used to be a real jerk off myself when it came to homeless people. Back when I was a little idiot. Not that I would pick on them or anything, but I had that same view of, lazy losers, they don't want to get a job, until I actually lived in a city with homeless people. I started asking them. I would sit and I'd buy them some coffee or I'd buy them a slice of pizza. Sometimes I'd buy them a pack of cigarettes if I knew the guy from being around there long enough. And I would just, the only thing I asked for in return was their story. I wanted to know why they were there. And they were all there. All of them had different reasons. Not many of them started off with, well, you know, I decided to be a homeless crackhead, or I decided to be a homeless person addicted to drugs, or I decided just to be homeless even though I'm not addicted to drugs. Maybe I just drink a little bit here or there. Well, it must be the drugs that made them homeless, right, Popeye? It had to be the drugs. The drugs. We need the war on drugs. No, actually, the drugs were used to numb the pain of being homeless, as was the booze. And then, of course, that just exacerbates the problem because if you smell like booze, none of these shelters will take you in. If they think you're high, none of these shelters will take you in. A lot of these places, some of them piss test if you want to get into certain programs. So people go, well, you know, you can't have druggies. You know, maybe if you understood why people use drugs in the first place, maybe you'd actually be able to tackle the problem. But you don't care to know why. Your answer is SWAT teams, helicopters, and guns. That doesn't solve the problem, does it? No, it just exacerbates it and makes certain people a lot more money. And it also gets the two sides, the regular folk and the law enforcement types, fighting against each other. And it also serves to dwindle down the numbers and keep people locked up. Wow, the only people that seem to be benefiting from this are the powers that shouldn't be. None of us are. Perhaps you people that enforce these retarded laws should actually look at what you're doing and pay attention. And maybe perhaps you'll realize whose side you should be on. Your own side. Because you're on our side, geniuses. Wake up and smell the coffee.
This is Sparta!
Feeding the homeless is illegal. Disgusting. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with hour number 2 here on tonight's live edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. I am your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com. It is March 4th, 2014. I have a few things I want to get into. You might find this interesting. Just thought people might want to check this out. On your favorite search engine of choice, if you happen to live in the Miami-Dade area, actually, if you happen to live anywhere, you can look this up, but it'll really hit home if you live in Miami-Dade. Maybe you'll understand the danger of these power plants. Go ahead and look up Turkey Point. That's our local little nuke plant, our own little mini Fukushima here, or our own Fukushima, I should say, right here in the state of Florida, our own possible Fukushima that we could have. Look up Turkey Point fallout map. Turkey, like the bird, Turkey Point fallout map. Once you have the map, open Google Maps in like a separate little window so you can put it next to it and compare the two. Look at the area that will become irradiated. The immediate area. And remember, this stuff will travel, so even people further away will have to deal with it. But look at the area. Look at the fallout map. If you live in Homestead, you might want to think about selling your house and moving just in case, because you never know. Remember, these plants were built by GE, same people that built Fukushima's plant. None of these things are in as top shape as they tell you they are. I'm not fear-mongering here. I'm telling you the truth. I had an opportunity while ago to buy a house down there in Homestead a few years back. Didn't even entertain the thought because of how close it is to this thing. So if you live in South Florida, Miami-Dade area at all, you haven't seen this, use your favorite search engine, look up Turkey Point Fallout Map. That'll give you an interesting new look on things if you don't worry about a Fukushima type event happening here. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, but we need to understand that the way we boil water is really, really stupid. And that it could cause some life-ending things on this planet, and we need to stop it. Look at Hanford. That thing's leaking. They just admitted, what was it, last week or the beginning? I think it was the last week or over the weekend. They admitted that more people are going to be sick. More people will be exposed to radiation. That means those people are going to die. Oh, Popeye, people have been exposed to radiation and not died before. Really? Really? People have been exposed to high levels of radiation and contamination and not died? Really, where? In what comic book are you reading? What are you talking about, Dr. Bruce Banner and his gamma ray bomb? People, this is real. I know they tell you not to worry about Fukushima radiation hitting the West Coast. If you live on the West Coast, you know I love all of you, okay? But for real, you need to go get yourselves prepared, you know. Don't freak out. Do what you got to do to mitigate it. Well, I don't want to live like that. Well, you're not going to live long if you don't. I hate to break the news to you, but it's there. Radiation's invisible. You can't see it. You can certainly pick it up with Geiger counters, but you can't really see it. If you can see it in the air, you're already dead, just so you know. There's no point in even bother putting on a mask or any type of suit. Okay, if you can physically see the fallout landing in front of your face, you're done already, just so you know. I think everybody understands that. But if I was on the West Coast, I would definitely be getting myself checked out. I personally, I've always wanted to move to Washington State and live there. It's like I always say, it's one of my favorite states I've never been to. I've been to many of the states in this country, and I've always wanted to go to Washington State, and I should have when I was younger because I can't now. I can't willingly expose myself to the levels of radiation that it's getting bathed in. Or California. I have friends that, look, ladies and gentlemen, I have friends that live in California. I've told them, pack your crap and move, and they won't. I'm not worried about that. I had one of my really close friends tell me things like this don't affect him. I don't know how it doesn't affect him, but I'm not going to stop, caring about this person as my friend, but you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I'm urging you, because I urge my own friends in my personal life, do your research about Fukushima. Check out ways of mitigating radiation exposure and things like that. I mean, you can't run from it. I love people, I'm going to run. Well, once you move to the southern hemisphere, you're not going to run from it. And then where are you going to go there? You're going to live in some country where they have a dictatorship or something? Are you going to go down there and change things, overthrow everything? I doubt it. A lot of people want to become an expat in another country. Well, that's all well and good, but if you have a big gun collection, yeah, I got like $100,000 in guns, Popeye. Well, you can't take 5 cents worth of them with you across the border. Yeah, I can. Really? I'd like to see you try. I'd like to see you try to transfer all of your firearms, like your .50 caliber Barrett. Move to Mexico. See if Mexico will let you take your stuff with you. Oh, well, Popeye, that's not going to happen. But I thought you said you'd get across the border with your guns. Even if you had to go through Mexico to get to another country with your guns, guess what? They're not letting you take them with you. And they're certainly not going to let you take them into the other country. They have a little thing called the war on drugs going on over there, even though you might not agree with it. I might not agree with it. You think they're going to let a bunch of people with guns you're just moving your guns. You're not a cartel member. We can totally tell the difference. Go on. Right. Think about that for just a minute. Just saying. So, there is no running. There is no running away. We can't run from the radiation. We have to face the fact that it's there. See, our government, their answer to things is to just raise the acceptable limits. Talk about insanity. Radiation's bad for you. Hold on a minute. Let me just raise this limit. No, it's good for you now. It's okay. But wait a minute. 5 seconds ago, that level of radiation was bad. Yeah, but we just raised the limit, so now it's okay. We say it's acceptable, so it's acceptable. That's how it works. Didn't actually make it any safer. It just appears to be safer. The illusion. I keep using that word to get you to understand that this all, what they put out, this all is an illusion. All of this crap. It's an illusion. My father just pointed out to me, he said, you can't even take your guns through New Jersey. He's right. There's certain states inside the country you can't even travel from, one state to another or travel through with your guns if you're legal without being threatened with violence from people in costumes and throwing you in jail and confiscating your property. You really think you're going to get out of the country? No, not with your guns anyway. That's not going to happen. Anyway, I want to move on to another topic. I got to spend some more time on Fukushima, but I'm trying to find a couple people to bring on and actually do some more in-depth coverage as to what's going on. I'm trying to find somebody that's been studying the health effects since, 3 years ago now, since it happened. I guess it's almost going on 4, right? Because it didn't. Was it 2011 or 2012? I don't remember. It would be 3. 3 years. 3? Yeah, I think it's 3 years. Anyway. Could be even longer. Time flies. I'm trying to find somebody that's been studying the health effects of this, not only in Japan, but here, all along the Canadian West Coast, here, and even the northern parts of the Mexican West Coast, because they're going to get some of it too, no doubt. I'd like to find somebody that has been studying the death rate and the cancer rate and all that, and just to see if what's going on and talk to them about that. But it takes some time to find people. So, by the way, if any of you do know of anybody like that you think is the real deal, or you think I might be interested in, you can email me. It doesn't mean I will get them on. I'll check them out, and if they're available. Sometimes people, hey, I told you to get this person on. How come you didn't message them? Sometimes I do message people and they just don't get back to you. That's the way this game is. Some people get back to you, some people don't. But if you know of anybody that wants to come on the broadcast and would be interested in getting interviewed about the health effects and stuff, or if you know anybody that you at least know of that is studying this, and you think you could at least send me in their direction, email me, contact DTRH@yahoo.com. The full word, contact DTRH@yahoo.com. Now, I want to move on to another topic really quick. The TSA, the trained sexual assault artists over at the TSA. I want to get into 2 examples of how they are, again, not stopping terrorism like they say they are, but it's security theater. And again, you have to wonder what the real, what are they really being trained? Because you'll see. I'll let you listen to the audio clip. It's just insane. Wait, one of the cases, they stopped the guy and harassed him because they said, we saw Bitcoin in your bag and we need to search through it and see it. They saw Bitcoin in his bag. How many of you out there actually know what Bitcoin is? Are we all clear that it's a virtual currency? Virtual, meaning it does not exist in the physical realm. There is no physical currency called Bitcoin, and yet this D-bag TSA agent claims to have seen it in this guy's bag. You'll hear. I'll just let it play. Check it out.
The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, was created after 9/11 to strengthen the security of the U.S.'s transportation systems. And this is from their website, ensure the freedom of movement for people in commerce. Now, we all know that they stop us from moving by making us take off our shoes and put hair gel into tiny, stupid bottles and a million other inanities. But we all suck it up because we try to have faith that they know what they're doing to some degree. But two stories just came out that will probably shatter what little faith we have left in the TSA. First, we have the case of Davi Barker, co-founder of Bitcoin Not Bombs, an advocacy group that gets organizations set up to handle accepting Bitcoin, the very virtual currency. After he cleared airport security successfully and was heading into the airport, two TSA agents stopped him in his tracks. And then they asked him, "What about Bitcoin?" When Barker was like, "What about it?" the agent said, "We saw Bitcoin in your bag and need to check it." And that is stupid because Bitcoin doesn't physically exist. So it'd be like saying, "I saw that email in your bag." Now, maybe the TSA agent has heard of Bitcoin and knows it has something to do with money, so he just wanted to be sure Barker wasn't smuggling money, but he was traveling domestically, so he's allowed to travel with cash or gold bullion even. So there was no reason for the agent to stop and check for Bitcoin, even if they existed. Next, we have the case of Ashley Brandt, who is from Washington, D.C., and was heading home. When she handed the TSA agent her D.C. license to go through security, the agent shook her head and said, "I don't know if we can accept these. Do you have a U.S. passport?" Apparently, the issue was over whether or not a D.C. driver's license is acceptable since it's not state issued. Never mind that Ashley used the license to board a plane to Phoenix, or that also from their website, their list of valid IDs clearly includes D.C. licenses. But I guess the TSA agent didn't read that list. And I guess the other one just has an irrational fear of virtual currency. Just like I guess they all really thought out the process of having us all take off our shoes and put gel into tiny containers. Don't worry. These are the people keeping our flights safe. Don't think about it too much. Just have faith. Tonight, let's talk about that by following me on Twitter @TheResident.
There you go. Just more evidence that TSA is security theater. Because that's what it is. It's all theater. It's all for your amusement, ladies and gentlemen. It's to make you feel safe. It's the illusion of safety. They don't catch terrorists. They catch people with joints in their pockets. "Well, Popeye, that's against the law." "Yeah, that guy with a joint in his pocket. Yeah, that guy, woo-hoo. That guy, he must be Bin Laden's right-hand man because he's got a joint in his pocket." I know the mainstream media and the government told you that after 9/11, because I remember seeing the commercials, that smoking grass equated with terrorism, but it doesn't. Okay, it doesn't. Just so you know, that's about as factual as reefer madness. Okay, TSA hasn't called anybody. They molest people's wives. They touch kids. We don't touch children, yet they had video after video after video after video after video of them touching kids until finally there was just, enough outrage where they stopped it. But you know what? See, this is all part of the game. This is all part of the plan. TSA is not here for security. TSA is here, ladies and gentlemen, to demoralize you and get you used to seeing uniformed people with badges patting you down. Why do you think they haven't given these guys real authority? They just give them the illusion of authority. They give them a costume and a fake little badge that really doesn't have any arrest power. Not that the police's badge or costume is any better, but theirs at least comes with some sort of power. Either one, it's the uniform that has the power, not the individual, by the way. So take your uniform off and you have nothing. You are a loser, okay? Which goes to show you're just like the rest of us. You're not like a god because you wear a cop outfit, or I'm a federal agent. What do you think? The sun shines out of your ass because you work for the FBI or the CIA? Or some other three-letter agency, or you're a cop? No. Center of the universe does not revolve around you. Your costume is what has the power. Anyway, so TSA doesn't even really have this arrest authority. They have this illusion of authority. It's a costume with a badge. It's to get you used to it. It's to get you acclimated to seeing someone wearing said costume with said badge on it. And getting you used to them telling you what to do. And groping your wife's breasts or her crotch or your teenage girl's crotch or maybe your son's crotch. Maybe even yours or your mother's. You get it? Frogs in the pot. See, America, no matter how lazy it has become, would become infuriated if they realized the truth. And if you just tried to one day have the way things were, and then suddenly you have jackboots at the airports and stuff, right? And locking people up, and not just at the airports, at a bus terminal or on the highway even. But if you do it incrementally, very slowly, you slowly turn the temperature in that pot up. You can't just take a pot of boiling water and throw a frog in it. Any chef that's ever cooked a frog will tell you the frog will jump right out of the pot. It ain't stupid. The frog's like, F that, the water's hot. I'm out. I got flippers. See ya. But if you put the frog in the pot of water, maybe it's lukewarm, maybe, just about lukewarm. The frog's just chilling, hanging out. He's relaxed. It's not burning him, so it doesn't matter. In fact, it's nice and warm. It's kind of relaxing. And the frog just, he's relaxing, and he's relaxing. Oh, it's getting a little warmer. It's like a sauna in here. Oh, it's just... that's just so bubbly in the house. It's getting a little hotter in here. Wow, it's getting hotter than a sauna. It went from being a hot bathtub to a sauna. Now I can't breathe. I'm getting a little tired. I'm just going to close my eyes, and then boom. Then the frog boils. And then the French eat him and have frog legs. Okay? So do you want to be eaten? Do you want to be the frog in the pot? Do you want the powers that shouldn't be to put us in the pot and to cook us and eat us? Not quite literally. Well, you never know. I mean, they are into some sick, twisted things, so you never do know. I mean, they quite literally could want to cook us and eat us, but you get the analogy. Do you want to be the frog in the pot? I certainly don't. I'm certainly not a frog in the pot. That's why I'm the one yelling, we're frogs in the pot. This isn't a jacuzzi. It's a pot of boiling water. And like half the other frogs are going, what are you talking about? I'm so comfortable in here. Shut up. I'm enjoying my time. Be quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the frogs in the pot. Okay, they have to do things slowly because certain things, if as I said, they ramped up. I mean, people would be flipping out, literally flipping out. Okay, oh my God, the end of the world, chaos! Time to take them out. Right? There are certain things that would still make people, regardless of how lazy they have become in this country, stand up. So they still have to do things incrementally. Why do you think they're pushing things like Common Core? So they can completely eradicate any semblance of any type of resistance at all. The brainless automatons that will be pumped out in the future, if that is left to go, okay, will make the kids that are coming out of school today that everybody bitches about and says, oh my God, these kids are brainless. Well, those kids are going to look like Albert Einstein compared to the future generations beyond them. They won't have to do this frogs in the pot crap anymore because they look, you have to understand, although they've become quite good at what they do, they don't want to do it anymore because it's taking too damn long. We should have been beyond where we are now in their eyes. Back in 2000, they wanted their New World Order police state. They're mad. It's 14 years behind. Don't get me wrong. They're not, well, maybe some of them are stomping their feet up and down and throwing temper tantrums, but these people understand that you have to do things in terms, you have to think in terms of years ahead, 10, 20, 30, 50 years ahead, okay? They do. But they also want to make it more efficient, and they don't want to have to deal with the same problem again. You get it? See, they learn from their mistakes. Even though a lot of people think that they don't. Oh, the government is inadequate, Popeye. Yeah, because not that, a good portion of that isn't a show. Right? No. Trust me, government's not as inadequate as you think it is. A lot of it is bureaucracy. 16 layers of red tape that don't need to be there. But again, that gives that aura, that myth of inadequacy and not being able to operate properly and function properly, when in reality, it's not really what you think it is at all. At all. I mean, in any semblance of what you think it is, it represents it. It doesn't represent it, I should say, at all. It represents it, 0%. There is no... The picture that you're presented is not the real picture, and TSA is a big part of that. They need you to get acclimated and used to being told what to do by some schmuck in a quote-unquote uniform with a badge on, because he has this air of authority. It's fake. He's TSA. He's a glorified mall cop. I don't care if TSA was formed by whatever decree or Congress, or I don't care. If I remember correctly, I think it was put together by Congress. But I don't care. I do not care. They do not have law enforcement capabilities. They are not officers. This has been debated before. Okay? On the House floor, this has been debated. And in different little, sessions that they had, whatever little committee. They're not officers. The TSA officer, see, they always say that. They always call them TSA officers. They're not. There are cops that work for TSA. There are TSA police. But the TSA guy fondling your nuts or your wife's boobs at the airport security line is not a cop. He doesn't have arrest authority. These are the people that are stealing people's stuff. They get caught fondling people. There's been cases where they grabbed kids that were, traveling through the airport with their parents. They grabbed one girl. She was like 15. They raped her, and this one guy raped her in the bathroom before they caught him. Well, that was just one instance. Really? There's more than one instance. When are people going to be infuriated about this? If this were any other agency doing anything else, if this were a civilian agency, and they had the track record that TSA has, there would be fury in the streets. Congressmen would be up in arms. There would be mountains moved to get that contract changed. We wouldn't tolerate that kind of insanity from some crazy civilian private company. So why do we tolerate it from some crazy government agency who hires sociopaths? Seriously. Why do we accept it? Bueller? Anyone? It's time to say enough is enough. You have the true power, ladies and gentlemen. When you say enough is enough, it's funny, but a lot of times things stop. The problem is everybody gets comfortable and goes back to their armchair and their football. We'll be right back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment, tonight's live edition, DTRH. This week I have an interesting lineup lined up. If everything goes as planned. I got Joni Abbott coming back on tomorrow. We're going to be getting into healthy eating and cannabis and just a bunch of other stuff, all health related tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting. Thursday, Mr. Joe Joseph and myself are going to be doing a 4-hour special. Now, I actually want to plug this really quick. Anyone interested can email me again at contactdtrh@yahoo.com, contactdtrh@yahoo.com. And yes, you have to spell out the full word contact and then DTRH@yahoo.com. Email me if you're a veteran and you're interested, or even if you're active duty and you can talk, we can not use your real name. But if you'd like to call in, Joe and I are going to be doing a call-in show from I know we never do call-in shows. Woo! We're going to be doing a call-in show from 8 o'clock, starting in Joe's show, until midnight. We're going to be doing 4 hours where, and it's not going to be solid call-ins. We're going to have, there'll be a period of time where we open the phone lines for people to call in, like vets and stuff. But we're also going to have, we're trying to line up as many vets that we know that are awake, to what's going on, which is most of them, to come on and talk. We're going to try to see who we can get on. But we're going to open the lines up too. And it's going to be, we don't want, this is going to sound mean, but it's not for everybody to call in. We're going to be doing more call-in shows, as I said. Joe and I are going to start doing more call-in shows here and there. But we're starting this one off where we just want veterans, spouses of veterans, children of veterans, or active duty military to call in. And we want to discuss. We want to give people a few minutes. And again, the callers, when you guys call in, and this is 2 days from now, but just remember, anytime you call into a radio show, don't expect that you're going to call in and dominate the host's show for 15 or 20 minutes with all these different topics. Call in to talk about the topic that's on air, and then get off air. Get off the phone. It's the polite thing to do. I know some people want to sit and chat and they want to get on and they want to go off about like 10 different topics, but like Thursday, it's important. Joe and I are, we're doing 4 hours of radio, and we're going to dedicate the 4 hours to, getting some truth out there, some information out there about the reality of, what it's really like to be a veteran, everything. And it's not the end-all, be-all, complete veteran experience, but I think this will definitely, if you're thinking about joining the military, it might give you a better idea of what you could be facing in the future. And even if you aren't facing that decision, if you just don't understand veterans, maybe this will help you understand vets, because that's my real goal, is to try to bridge that gap between people that have served and people who have never served, because there's this huge gap. And I think the world would be a better place if that gap wasn't there, and if there was a better understanding between the two. So that's my goal, and I want people just to hear the truth about what goes on. So Joe and I talked about it, and we put together this episode for Thursday. So this Thursday we're going to be doing again a veteran special, and there will be a portion of it where we do live call-in, and we'll give out the number on air and everything when we're ready to do it that night. But the only people that we're going to request to call in, and I'm telling you guys this now so you know ahead of time, okay, you've heard me say it, so you can't say I didn't say it. Again, veterans, active duty, or spouses and children of veterans. That way, I don't want someone that's not a vet calling in and, well, I want to talk about geoengineering. Well, that's not the night for it. We'll do another call-in show on, one night where we'll spend like an hour just, taking calls or whatnot. But Thursday night's going to be for that. I want people to, there's this multifaceted approach to the problem here, and I just think it would be a really good thing. So that's what Joe and I are doing Thursday. And then Friday, as I said, I have Mikey Vale coming on. So it's going to be an action-packed week here on DTRH. So final thing I want to get into here, final segment, final thing I want to tear into, which will probably lead me off onto ranting on about 8 other topics, as you all know. E-cigarettes. Now, I'm not going to actually attack e-cigarettes. I'm sure when I said e-cigarettes, people are going, oh, God, what, Popeye, what? I don't know the health impact of smoking an e-cigarette long term. But I know that compared to smoking a cigarette, it's I don't know if it's better. Well, I guess you could say it's better because you're not inhaling all that crap that they spray on the fake tobacco, or excuse me, the fake nicotine and all the other crap that they spray on the tobacco. But I mean, I can't say that it's 100% disease proof. You won't get sick. All the enjoyments of the addiction and none of the consequences. Well, I'm not saying that. But they are a healthier, I guess you could say, alternative. Although smoking anything, puts a beating on your lungs, even if it doesn't. Cannabis doesn't kick the crap out of it, but you still cough. It doesn't. When I say kick the crap out of it, I mean it doesn't cause cancer or anything, but it does cause you to cough. It irritates your throat and stuff. So I don't know what e-cigarettes do. I've seen people smoke them. I've seen a lot of my friends quit smoking because of the things. People I care about quit smoking. I've seen close friends quit smoking and because of it. So if these people can quit, and I can be selfish prick and have them around a couple more years because of that stuff, and maybe that if they're not as dangerous, then by all means, do your e-cigarette. I mean, who cares really? It's water vapor. The problem is it looks like smoke. So because it looks like smoke, we have to legislate based on the fact that it might look like smoke and somebody might get offended. Well, why don't you tell everybody to grow the F up? That's part of the problem in this country. Well, I'm offended because that looks like smoke, but it's not. It's water vapor. I don't care. I think it's smoke, but it's not smoke. It's water vapor. I don't care. I think it's smoke. Therefore, you shouldn't be allowed to do it in public. Okay, well, I think you're an idiot. I don't think you should be allowed out in public. How does that sound? I think idiots like you should be locked up forcibly. I think there should be a law for that. Oh, you don't like that, do you? Right, because that's an insane idea. Right, because who judges, who's the idiot? Right. Think it's just as insane as locking somebody up for smoking an e-cigarette? People have been arrested already in restaurants for smoking e-cigarettes. I know people that have smoked e-cigarettes in restaurants, that they currently smoke them, and they've used them, or I shouldn't even say smoke, vapor. They call it vaping. They vaped in restaurants, and people got all offended, but they couldn't do anything because the restaurant couldn't throw them out because they're not smoke. I mean, the restaurant could throw anybody out they really wanted to, but they'd have then you have the chance of opening yourself up to lawsuits over certain things. And the problem is, of course, you'll hear it in this audio piece I'm going to play. The problem is the e-cigarette marketplace is not regulated by the government, because that solves every problem. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying deregulation, but I mean, really? 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 The government's going to solve all your problems? Right, okay, here we go again with the government and their cape. With a big S on it. I'm super government SG. Super government here to save you. Hell out of here. Anyway, lawmakers in Washington passed a 75%, I don't know if it's a city, county, or the state as a whole. I have to listen to the clip again. But lawmakers in Washington passed a 75% tax on e-cigarettes. They wanted a 95% tax on it. But I guess they felt 95% tax was just too insane. So they passed 75% tax. See, they're pissed because these lawmakers are mad because they get money from taxing the crap out of cigarettes. People aren't buying cigarettes anymore because they're smoking e-cigarettes because it is a healthier option, regardless of if it's still dangerous. It's healthier than smoking the cigarettes. So they're not getting that revenue. So now they want to tax the hell out of e-cigarettes. You see what this is about? This isn't about health. Well, we don't know how safe they are. Bullshit. You guys are losing tax revenue off of the cancer sticks, so now you're going to charge the e-cigarettes. They don't care about you. They don't care about your health. They're pissed that they lost tax revenue. They even say it in the news clip. Listen.
Considering laying down a hefty tax on users of e-cigarettes. In a 7-6 vote, a House committee agreed a tax of 75% was warranted. It was higher, 95%. Come Force Matt Markovich reports that would shut down e-cigarette retailers statewide.
At the Steam Pump Vapory Lounge, there's a speakeasy feel. There's no tobacco smoke or pot smoke. Inside, there's a fruity aroma. Users vape away on e-cigarettes, exhaling not smoke, but water vapor.
If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And that's the way they view e-cigarettes. It looks too much like smoking.
No, it's not smoking, igniting tobacco to get a nicotine fix. Rather, it's users inhale nicotine-laced water that is scented.
Various degrees of nicotine
nicotine in these things.
Correct.
Mark Jarrett's company creates the juices that are vaped, and to the layperson, you might think the higher the nicotine value, the more popular.
Actually, you would think that that would be the case and people would gradually want to increase their dosage, but what we found is absolutely the opposite.
Now the state is considering taxing e-cigarettes, much like tobacco, but even higher, 70% tax over and above the sales tax. The e-cigarette business is largely unregulated, and opponents say it's just another way to get addicted to nicotine. So state lawmakers, seeing shrinking revenue from cigarette taxes because people are smoking less, are looking for another revenue stream. Jeff Call ran a smokeless vapor bar until he ended the fight he was having with the city of Tacoma on its legality. He believes lawmakers should educate themselves on the difference.
I think they let money get in the way of everything. They're blinded by money.
At the Vaporium, one of the first e-cigarette shops in the state, they're already facing stiff competition.
And already we're handicapped to compete with the internet because internet sales don't charge any tax. So we're already 10% higher than internet.
If the 70% tax goes through, they're done.
Even with the 70%, I'm certain that we'll be shutting our business down.
In Tacoma, Matt Markovich, Como 4 News.
The proposed tax is far from becoming law. It must now go before the House of Representatives. The Senate and the governor would also have to agree on it.
You heard them say it. The only reason why the state wants to raise the taxes, and believe me, if they do it in that state, you can bet other states are trying behind the scenes as well. New York City banned the sale of e-cigarettes to anybody under the age of 21. It's letting kids smoke cigarettes. Shut up, you nanny state fascist pigs. Shut your mouths. A law saying that someone under 21 can't buy cigarettes, but regular cigarettes too, by the way, regular cigarettes or e-cigarettes is not going to stop them from getting them. How about if they give someone that's 21, and if the person's 20 years old, how about if they give their 21-year-old friend money to buy them a pack of cigarettes? Well, then we'll put that 21-year-old person in jail. Good answer. Good answer. No solution, just jail. And furthermore, if people can't buy cigarettes till the age of 21 in New York, I don't think they should be forced to join the military until the age of 21. I think a lawmaker in New York, or perhaps the people that live there, should push for a law to be passed, since you all like laws being passed so much. How about you pass a law that says, since kids can't drink till they're 21 and they can't smoke cigarettes now until they're 21 here in New York City, no children in New York City will be peddled any propaganda for recruitment purposes for the United States military until they're at least 21. Because if you're not old enough to drink and you're not old enough to smoke, you shouldn't be old enough to die. After all, isn't getting shot way more dangerous than drinking a beer or smoking a cigarette? Can't debate me on that one, can ya? Like to see somebody try. Anyone. You can't. This attack on e-cigarettes, as you heard them say in the video, is all about revenue stream. They don't really care about health. They don't care about people smoking cigarettes or e-cigarettes. It's about revenue. You're taking money out of their pockets. That pisses them off. Right off the bat, that ought to show you this is theft. They're applying a tax. They want to apply a tax. That's theft. You heard these business owners. It'll shut their businesses down. They're already having problems because they have to deal with the internet sales, because people do buy a lot of stuff on the internet. And unless your state has a rule that says they have to charge sales tax, most people don't pay sales tax when they purchase things on Amazon. So what happens? Well, their competition already has a 10% discount. At least that's what it looks like to the buyer. Where do you think that competition's going to go? And then usually most of these places, any order over $50, they throw in free shipping, right? A lot of times, they even if the order is small, they'll give you free shipping because they ship it, first class mail. Cost them $2 or $3 to ship it, especially if they're printing it out as opposed to going to the counter. It's always cheaper if you have an accountant print it out from the post office and then drop it off than if you actually wait online. Cost them a couple bucks to ship it. They still make more than the guy that has to pay the 10%. He's already got the 110% tax. Now they want to up it to 75%, and then they want to put 70% on top of that. Another 70% on top of that. Like they want to stay. It's on top of the sales tax. You put these people out of business. How are you going to do that? Well, we're state politicians. You don't understand. We have to do this. It needs to be done. You are going to make people lose their businesses. And I'm sure some of these people end up losing their friggin' homes because of that. You're going to put people out of business. You're going to put people out on the street. All because you greedy pieces of crap want your cut. This is like the mafia, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is no different than the friggin' Sopranos coming in. Oh, you opened a new business, I see, huh? Oh, we're the local protection. I'm good. I don't need any protection. Oh, no, you do. You see, my cousin Johnny over there just got out of jail, and he's a bit of a firebug. About $2,000 a month. I can promise that Johnny won't be lighting any fires in this neighborhood. That's for sure. But without it, I don't know. Johnny, he could come down here drunk one night and burn your whole place down. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's a protection racket. What they're doing is it's the same type of freaking organized crime. Might not be running a protection racket in this instance, but it's still organized crime. It's the frigging Sopranos. You have Tony Soprano running things. It's that attitude, this gangster mentality that they all have. And you know why they have this? Because they see the people before them getting away with it. When scum sees other scum getting away with things, doing things that are clearly in violation of the Constitution, clearly in violation of even their own rules, laws, regulations, ordinances, doesn't matter. When they see scum breaking these, violating all that, okay, and then they see them, this said scum, not getting called to the carpet for these very violations, you don't think that they're going to be perhaps maybe just a little bit intrigued as to maybe if they would suffer the same fate? So they try it. And guess what happens? 9 times out of 10, they don't get in trouble. So that just emboldens them. And then they do even worse things. Okay, why do you think cops are doing the things that they do? One of the reasons is they're trained. Another reason is because they're operating on the fear vibe. And another reason is because when they do something bad, their police unions and their bosses, the captains, the police chiefs, everybody, they all close ranks and they rally around them. And fault is never admitted. Ever, ever, ever. So the problem can never actually be solved because you can't move into the resolution phase, because you can't, in order to do that, you actually have to admit there was a problem to begin with. Well, we can't even get to that point. We're still stuck at, dude, you got to go to rehab. No, I'm fine. I don't have to go to rehab. I love my police brutality. I'm going to keep drinking bottles of it. Go. That's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. We can't get to the next step because nobody wants to admit there's a freaking problem, because every time one of these guys gets caught doing what they're doing, they close ranks. Okay? And I've gotten into how it's all chess playing. It's like a 3D chessboard. Okay? I've gone into it. But until we can admit there's a problem and start to actually fix things like that, we're going to keep having the same problem. You're going to keep turning on the news every day and keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And you're going to keep getting mad, and your friends are going to keep getting mad. And then eventually there's going to become a breaking point. And it's just going to be really bad when it happens. Okay? It's just incredible. Just insane. I'm telling you, I woke up one day and I walked out of my house and I was like, wow, we're in Bizarro World. When the hell did I get here? And again, what is a lot of this for? Money. We're not getting our cut. We need to get money. Why don't you scumbags go out and get real jobs? You politicians. Well, I'm a politician. Dude, shouldn't be a full-time job. Being a politician should be no more than 20, 30 hours a week if you actually sat down and did the work. Okay? I'm not talking about sitting there lobbying and kissing people's rear ends. Okay? Cut all that out. Get rid of it all. Just cut it all. Cut it all out. You should maybe. Okay, maybe not a part-time politician. Okay. How about full-time politician for a limited amount of time? Term limits. And then, you can't be a career politician. That's the kind of thing that needs to go. But see, you have that in state. You have that in federal. You have it all over the place. You have politicians that have been, state politicians, state lawmakers for 20, 30 years. And you go to talk to these people and they say, but you try to talk some sense into them and they look at you and they laugh or they just shake their heads and they talk to you and they kind of want to blow you off and they really don't want to pay attention to you. Because maybe whoever's lobbying them got to them first. Or because maybe they have a personal vested interest in not passing a certain law because they have insider information. See, again, these career politicians are a huge part of the problem. It's a fact of it. People don't like it. Again, they become these career politicians because they lie, whatever. They spend bazillions on their campaigns, but also because people put them in these positions. And how do people put them in these positions? Because people expect some putz in an Armani suit to come save them from whatever issues. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm sure, if you want things to run smoothly, I get it. There needs to be some sort of structure. But, this kind of stuff, people ought to be pissed off about this 75% tax on e-cigarettes. People ought to be getting together and, throw these people out. If they pass this law, they ought to throw them out. All of you. Well, I'm not a smoker. Okay, but, they're violating other people's rights in your state. You should get together with them. Oh, well, it doesn't affect me. Okay, well, how about when they do something that affects you? Oh, well, then maybe we could all get together. But what happens if the other people are affected in some way, shape, or form? See, just because it's something small and you can't go to a FEMA camp for it doesn't mean you shouldn't stand up for someone else's rights. Okay? Someone has I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, if I don't like everything people say. I don't agree with everything people say. There are people that, they say things that are just completely off the wall, racist, just stupid, retarded thinking. But I won't ask for their right to say that to be stifled, because then one day somebody could feel the same way about something I'm saying and ask that my right to speak be stifled. You get it? So even if I don't agree with what the person is saying, I still have to defend their right. Same thing with this. Even if you don't agree with e-cigarettes, you have to be brain dead to not see the hypocrisy of what they're doing and understand that they don't really care about whether or not you're healthy. They're pissed off because you're not buying any more cancer sticks, and since you're not buying the death sticks and they're not making any money off that, they have to find another revenue stream. Think about that just for a minute. Just think about that level, about how they actually care about you. Isn't that awesome? But we love you, and we're here to help you. We're the government. We're your best friends. We love you. Lies. Just insanity. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly in Bizarro World.
This is Sparta!
It's time to get the hell out. Time to get back to where we should be. Some plane of reality. Anyway, we're out of time for this evening. I love you all. Thank you for listening to my ranting tonight. Hope I made some sense to some of you. I will catch you all again live tomorrow night. Until then, as I always say, the solutions to our problems are most definitely an inside job. I love you all, and I am out of here.